So this is to do with Irish citizenship and Irish passports. And I've said this before time and time again, but and I still agree with what I'm going to say. But just briefly touching on the current Finnish government, they've been very tough on the Finnish citizenship and in terms of passports, Finnish passports for people to get Finnish passports. You have to be 15 years now nearly in Finland to get a Finnish passport to get citizenship. And not even to mention, the reason why I mentioned this you see in a second. But the reason why I'm mentioning this, you have to speak full Finnish too. Now, there's a lot of people here getting citizenship. I think they're just literally handing them out like goodie bags and goodie bags here, the citizenship and Irish passports. There's that many people getting them, and you wonder how they get them at all. So first of all, it should be very long time. It should be 15 years or 20 years of that you should be here before you get citizenship. Oh, you're entitled to citizenship. And I think the most important thing is, and this is what the Finnish government, this is the reason why I'm talking about it, the Finnish government are going to tighten it even more than before. 15 years along with speaking fluent Finnish or speaking partially Finnish, as they would call it too. But obviously, if you're an Irish person, you should be able to speak English a good bit and a bit of Irish maybe here and there. But I don't think we should force people to speak Irish. Not many people can speak Irish anyway. But that would be ideal for the citizenship and comes to that. And obviously, knowing things about the country, you can't just turn up and not know anything about the country. The next thing I would say is about people who are looking for citizenship or trying to achieve citizenship or trying to achieve that. You should have to work every day for it because again, you're not entitled. It's the same as Irish. I would say the same thing to an Irish person in Australia, New Zealand. You're not entitled to anything from the Australian government, the New Zealand government, or the United States. You're not entitled to anything. They owe you nothing. You owe them something. If you want to achieve citizenship, you owe them blood, sweat, and tears. If you go to a country outside your homeland, you have to work to get what you to survive. You have to do it. It's simple as that. It's not that you're going to be looking for freebies. And it's simple as that. You shouldn't be. And I say this to Irish citizens: if you're going to go looking in other countries for freebies, Irish people have worked all their life. We have a tradition of working hard and busting ourselves to get the work done. That's the tradition should be. And I say that to Irish people, and regardless of who you are, if you come to Ireland too, you have to bust yourself to get it. You're not going to get it handed to you unless you do something. You put yourself in harm's way for the public interest. Take for example, if there was an attack or something, God forbid, and you put yourself in danger to stop a terrorist. Take for example, something that we would give you honorary citizenship. Fair enough. But this is the thing. You should have the work. What I mean by that is you should not get citizenship, Irish citizenship, if you're on benefits, if you're on social welfare. You're not entitled to Irish citizenship. You're not entitled to it. Because there's some people, and again, looking at some cases of it, somebody was here for 5 years, got citizenship, and they never worked a day in their life. So why are we giving people citizenship that they were burdened on the state? And again, they were burdened on the state because it'd be different if they were Irish citizens or our citizens, we have to look after them. But if there's somebody that doesn't have Irish citizenship, you're not entitled to anything. Suppose that you shouldn't be entitled to really anything, and unless you're going to work for it. Simple as that. But that's the way it should be. And I know it's harsh. I know it sounds tough, but that's what it has to be. Simple as that, because it's something that you have to work towards. It's not an automatic right. Here you go, free citizenship. You have to work for it. And I say it to the same to Irish people if you're going to wherever in the world. You have to work for it. You're not going to get things handed to you. You shouldn't get it handed to you. You have to work for it. You have to earn your keep. Simple as that. When you contributed enough, take for example, if you're in Australia, an Irish citizen in Australia, if you worked 20 years, 30 years in Australia, worked and paid your taxes and all that, then the Australian government can be like, yeah, fair enough, we'll give you citizenship. But, this at the same time, they're not obliged. They could say, no, we're not. But it's the same here. We shouldn't be giving people goodie bags and saying, here you go. You have to work pretty much to own it. And I think the majority of Irish people would agree with that. It's just being fair. If you want something, you have to work for it. Simple as that. It's the same with myself. I have to buy things, and I have to go out and work for it. I'm not getting handed to me. Simple as that. The Irish government handing things to everybody else, but they won't hand it to Irish citizens, of course. But what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't ask them in the first place, because I come from a family that you work to earn, you keep. Simple as that. And that's as simple as that, and it should be the way. If you want something, you're going to have to work for it. Simple as that, and you have to contribute. It's the same as that. It's the same as getting citizenship. You have to contribute. There's no handouts, and shouldn't be handouts in terms of goodie bag citizenships, as I would call them. But that's what I would say. And I know it sounds very tough, but it has to be tough because unfortunately the immigration system of this country has been abused, and the government are letting it being abused, first of all. And then the second of all is the terms of citizenship. We're handing out citizenship like goodie bags, as I said. And we shouldn't be doing that. Citizenship is for people who have earned it. Simple as that. Have worked hard. And I feel sorry for people who are, there's people here that are immigrants and they worked hard and they're doing everything right. They haven't broke the law. And of course, not breaking the law or having a criminal record, you should not get an Irish citizenship if you have broken the law. In a severe case, obviously, if it was just a parking ticket or something like that, fair enough. We're not going to knock the whole house down over that. But if it's something like a serious assault or something of a very deviant benefit, then you shouldn't get citizenship. It goes without saying, I'm sure you'd agree. You're not going to. We don't want troublemakers that get citizenship. We don't want, say for example, that person getting citizenship and going over to Belgium or something like that, causing trouble. We don't want that. Simple as that. But that's what I would say. We have to strengthen in terms of citizenship. We should have the best of the best, people who are willing to work, who are hard workers, and that's what we need. We don't want people who just want things handed to them, but that's what it should be. And I would say the same if I was immigrating in the morning, take for example, if I was going anywhere to go to Finland, you're not going to get things, I'm not going to get, especially with the current Finnish government, I wouldn't be on the best terms with the current Finnish government, let's put it that way. So I would never probably get it anyway, let's put it that way. And not to mention, it's very tough because you have to speak moderate Finnish. So you have to speak fluent Finnish for, I think, nearly 20 minutes is the exam. Like, for 20 minutes straight, just speak fluent Finnish. And again, that's very tough, and it should be very tough. It's their country, we have to be tough. And then knowing loads of things about their culture, society, etc., and tests. It's very tough. It's very tough. And so it should be, because they want the best people to get in and citizens and to work for it. And I think they're correct. I don't agree with the True Finns and everything, but they are correct. They want the best people they can get. And the way you do it is by putting them through the hell and back to get the best people, the people who are willing to stick and contribute and stuff like that. That's how you know. And willing to go through the hard times to get to the means of the end, if that makes sense. And what I mean by the means of the end is to get to the goal in terms of achieving citizenship and stuff. But I know it sounds harsh, and I know some people would say that's awful. Wait, people 15 years, 20 years get citizenship. But I do think it's necessary. I don't think people should be here for 5 years and get it. I don't agree with that, to be totally honest. Maybe in some cases, as I say. But there is some things with Irish, more than any other country. British citizens can get Irish passports and Irish citizenship. And then obviously Irish Americans can claim Irish citizenship. There's many different ways of it. But I'm talking about people outside the European Union in general too. And in the European Union as a whole too. But it does need to be looked at. In my opinion, it does. It really, really does. Because I do think it's been abused, unfortunately. It is being abused. And again, it's all kindness being abused. But that's the way I see it. Because again, Finland's doing it. And they're right to do it. Maybe you could argue it's too harsh. Maybe you could. But you want the best people you can in the country. And that's the only way. That's the only way to do it. It's been very tough. Because only the people who are the best people will stick it out. That's for the people who just want freebies because they get citizenship are not going to stick it out. They're going to go somewhere else. And that's just the thing. Let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.